Greetings from Portugal. I'm Inês Braga and I'm a senior lecturer in ISCAP, Porto Polytechnic. My presentation is entitled Interdisciplinarity, Making the Teaching Learning Process Global and Motivating. Now we are going to present the objectives and the methodology. So, the main objective is to reflect on how to overcome the rigid compartmentalization of individual syllabus and thus contribute to a more global and integrative education. The methodology used is to review the literature on interdisciplinarity, providing a theoretical scientific framework, and to share positive experience conducted and or observed by the author, senior lecturer in higher education. Now we are going to talk about the evolution of the interdisciplinarity. So, the common curriculum already existed in the 19th century. After, in the 1930s and in the 1940s, we can notice its visibility. Then, in USA, in the first half of 20th century, educational reforms emerged. At the time, education based on problems and themes as well as common curricula was adopted as a reaction to disciplinary over-specialization. In our days, interdisciplinarity is a buzzword and a very unclear polysemic concept. There are several definitions of interdisciplinarity, and we will present one of them, which is interdisciplinary research is any study or group of studies undertaken by scholars from two or more distant scientific disciplines. The research is based upon a conceptual model that links or integrates theoretical frameworks from those disciplines, uses study design and methodology that is not limited to any one field, and requires the use of perspectives and skills of the involved disciplines throughout multiple phases of the research process. Nowadays, interdisciplinarity is recognized by several universities and academic research policymakers as a condition, even a key factor for the growth of research. Also, an integrative and no longer monodisciplinary approach is increasingly practiced by research centers of universities that develop good practices. Universities enjoy greater financial emancipation and autonomy in terms of structure and human resources in relation to the past. It's not easy to apply the interdisciplinarity in the universities. Usually, departments are more powerful than interdisciplinary centers, IC, so those can compete with departments' strength and power. Supremacy of the departments overlaps that of IC, recruiting according to disciplinary and non-interdisciplinary quality criteria. The longevity of the departments is greater than that of IC. Also, impossibility of the IC offering courses and or diplomas versus departments that organize disciplinary curriculum in the logic of its departmental structure. Finally, access to employability is organized according to disciplinary logic, discouraging students who wish to follow an interdisciplinary approach to increase their career opportunities. Concerning interdisciplinary difficulties, we will present a real case. So, another difficulty is an unclear definition of interdisciplinarity. Within the framework of Danish interdisciplinary research program at the level of institutional management in the university, none of the most common criteria from improving institutional interdisciplinarity has been applied, such as promoting a collaborative environment and providing incentives to the teacher. So, as a result, the consolidation of existing monodisciplinary structures known as stable and safe instead of introducing new and interdisciplinary approaches. Teacher training is an important factor to obtain success in interdisciplinary projects (IP). The development of core and transversal skills in higher education is a challenge for graduates, as referred by several authors. Santaolalla et al. Refer that IP is carried out by teachers, teachers educators, and primary school children, in the context of interdisciplinary learning in a museum. These authors propose an useful IP for teacher education, and also refer the need for study plans to be aligned with pedagogical methods that allow achieving 21st century skills. Interdisciplinarity is advised because it improves student skills. Also, the contact with the job market is valued with a view to increase employability, and marketing about interdisciplinarity is necessary to promote higher education institutions. A study on higher education interdisciplinary in the UK refers that students are pleased with the possibility of solving problems with their colleagues in an industrial context. Soft skills as teamwork, problem solving, and communication are valued. Besides, in this research, an interdisciplinary model of best practice is proposed. The authors, Ardley and Ballinger, refer the need for the clarity regarding the marketing message and/or the classification of the product. After Bologna, in ISCAP, in our capacity as coordinator and professor of an information science degree, interdisciplinary work was carried out between several assignments of each curricular year. Since 2007-2008 to 2009-2010, we carried several interdisciplinary projects with first-year students with group work assignments. One example is to conduct research on topics within the syllabus of IIS and to apply the skills acquired while attending IRM course. Another example is to apply the skills acquired and write a paper for 2 classes and to create a website, also to create the content texts of the site. More recently, in 2019-2020, as a professor, we carried out an identical but more complex pedagogical experience, an interdisciplinary work between 3 disciplines with 20 second-year students studying in a teamwork and 2 lecturers coordinating them. The objective of this experience was the identification of information and technology policies used by the Information Service of Porto Polytechnic, of which our faculty, ISCAP, is part of. The assignments: theoretical requirements, a paper; empirical requirements, each work group had to visit a library of one of the schools of Porto Polytechnic. The students interview the librarian and apply the survey to library users. Regarding the results of the assessment of this interdisciplinary project, we would like to highlight the students' marks. Those were very good once the most of the students obtained a very good classification and 20% obtained an excellent classification. Besides, a significant number of students increased their average. As a conclusion, interdisciplinary experiences became more motivating and time-effective for the students. Also, promote the adoption of active and proactive attitudes. Developed several skills, as well created pleasure in learning, provided better academic performances, furthermore led to a valorization of the students' autonomous work, yet encourage research choices based on credible sources of information, and finally promote team working and academic writing skills. In concluding, interdisciplinarity should not be understood as a buzzword. It should be implemented with courage in the daily lives of higher education institutions. Several synergies and bridges must be built inside and outside the walls of universities. At last, monochoric disciplinary teaching is no longer desirable. Here you have my institutional email, and I want to thank you very much for your attention.